through losers bracket now. However, we have our next quarterfinal matchup about to be live. It is going to be Noble versus Rebel. And, I got to say, I can't wait to get to predictions in a bit. That was a tough one because something tells me SuMuNs on tournament day, yeah, he turns up. Identivez on tournament day, yeah, he shows up. But first things first, let's talk about this Noble roster. Exclusive's last event. This is a massive storyline. As he, of course, graduated from college, is going to be jumping on. Oh, sorry, wrong squad here. I was thinking of Team K. So I was thinking Toti, on the other hand, is the kind of American player on this team, playing alongside 3 Mexican players in Xploidz, Fearzly, and Dis, as we are going to be keeping an eye on this Noble squad. Ryan, walk me through this team. What makes them great?
Yeah, this is right now the number 1 team in Latin America. They are looking like almost the number 1 team in the world. They've played Kansas City Pioneers so close so many times, but I'll say it time and time again. This is one of the most well-rounded rosters we have in Gears Esports. They have incredible slaying power with Dyslexic and Fearzly. You have Xploidz, a man who can do it all. The best sniper we have in Gears right now, you could argue. Then you have Toti, one of those Swiss Army knife guys who, kind of like players like Handles, does such a good job of putting his teammates in a position to succeed. Obviously, very, very good with the support role. Can pop off for 2 pieces, 3 pieces himself. He's a very, very strong player. This team just doesn't have a lot of weakness. If you look across the board, there's not a lot of things this team does poorly, right? They rotate well. They can wolfpack well. They have a lot of individual skill. They have good power weapons. This team is just very, very strong across the board. And that's the reason why we keep seeing them in grand finals.
Yeah, that's right. Meanwhile, we don't have to pull back up production. Don't worry, I'm not going to pull this one on you. But my man Dis maybe remembers the time I dissed him last broadcast and roasted his ass for being, Mr. Scrum. He had a little bit of flair. He's got a little watch. He's got a little chain going on, some swag. Shot to Dis, looking a little more glared up on that team profile pick. Meanwhile, let's go ahead and switch on over to the Rebel squad. We already know my man Identivez brings all the swag to the table here. Toby, walk me through this team.
Yeah, that's for sure. I mean, this, just like the PK roster, is just an all-star studded team now, actually, in another one of the LATAM region. And a lot of eyes will be on SuMuNs, I think, right, to come up and perform on Major Day in a similar way that Kenny is looked at on E United, right? And so all eyes on him actually coming from the PK roster to see if he can perform now on this Rebel roster, of course, alongside that LATAM star of Identivez, who's been around as perhaps the number 1 glory star overall for the LATAM region since the start of Gears 4. Now, also, there's going to be a lot of eyes on Demon, of course, because he's kind of like that hidden gem for many players, at least historically he was. And now he's come out of nowhere, and as soon as he starts performing and kind of gets into that main Slayer role, he can really carry a team. And I think, honestly, to beat Noble, that will probably be needed today, for sure.
I think you broke down those rosters and some of the key players perfectly, but we do have a key player matchup between Toti and Demon. Let's show the stats and see what the stats say, what type of tale it tells. Ryan, tell me what you're seeing here. 2.3 KD for Toti. He's been looking really strong.
Yeah, he has been looking very, very strong. Like I said, Toti's one of those guys who can do it all, right? He can put in work with his Lancer. He can put in work with his shotgun. He's one of those guys who is just always all around the map. He's kind of constantly moving. He's a very, very hard player to maintain. And then you have Demon, right? One of the most mechanically skilled players we have, one of the highest flying Slayers we have. He's one of the most dangerous players we have, I would say, on the map in Gears Esports. So both of these players, a huge, huge reason why their squads are so successful. And I'll tell you right now, these 2 teams are going to go so much harder in this matchup because of the fact that right now we're talking about Noble being the number 1 LATAM team. I know Rebel wants to take that crown as number 1 LATAM team. So do the Pittsburgh Knights again. All these teams are fighting, and you already know deep down, they all want to be considered that number 1 LATAM squad. So these 2 teams are going to be giving us everything they have. Both of these guys are definitely going to leave it all out there on the battlefield. And I feel like Rebel right now, they feel like they have a lot to prove, right? They made that roster change. They picked up SuMuNs, a championship level player. I feel like they believe they belong there. They got to prove it.
Yeah, we remember the last time someone's got dropped from a roster. It was getting dropped from E United, and they're joining PK and playing incredibly well the event following. So we're excited to see what SuMuNs can do on this squad as well. It's going to be a great one. Let's go ahead and jump right in to the map picks and bans. We know y'all want to see gameplay. Toby, tell me what you're seeing here and who you think has the advantage.
Oh, very interesting indeed. Honestly, I'm glad to see Speyer between these 2 teams, especially after we saw Rebel perform so well against E United in their past matchup, right? But also, likewise, Noble were absolutely phenomenal on that map yesterday too. The question is, in terms of who has the advantage, I kind of like the maps for both teams overall. I think it's a good thing that we see Clocktower actually last map, if we do get to it, of course, because previously Rebel beat Noble 3-0, rather they're in Pro League, and they're actually 3-0 in terms of the record as well. So it's a very strong map for them. But of course, they need to get there, and it's going to be super difficult winning the Escalation against Noble, of course. And just generally speaking, Control as a mode, Noble is the best Control team in the pro scene. That is for sure. 12-3, a record for them. And so honestly, it really comes down to Rebel winning the executions, in my opinion, to try and claw their way to that final map.
Ryan, you think they can do it?
I mean, I think that they can do it. The question is, are they going to do it, right? That's a much tougher one. Like Toby said, man, these guys are just tough as nails when it comes to Control. Like I said, that's one of those teams without a really glaring weakness, right? They rotate around the map so well. They're so fast paced, right? They kind of put you on your toes at all times, right? Your back's always kind of reacting to them, and that's what makes them so strong. So I think Rebel can do it. I think this is one of the strongest Rebel teams we've ever seen, kind of top to bottom. The question becomes, are they going to bring their A game, right? Because this Noble team, they seem to always bring it, right? They're a very consistent team when it comes to these majors now. We're always used to seeing them up in the top, up in the grand finals, whatever it may be. So Noble's going to bring their game. The question really to me just becomes, what are we going to see from Rebel? On paper, it's one of the strongest teams we have by far.
That's right. So I said, do you think they can do it, or do they will do it? Well, I want to get your firm predictions and thoughts. Let's jump into predictions here. Ryan, who you got? Toby, you after, and then I'll round it out.
So do I think they can do it? Yes. Do I think they will do it? No. I am going to take Noble here. Very hard to kind of go against Noble right now until someone proves me wrong. By the way, speaking of predictions, I do want to point out, by the way, Jordan did get the last one right. Everyone was roasting Jordan about the last one. I want to make sure I plugged that one in there. I waited for this segment to let you guys know that he's not the head analyst. That's my job, but my assistant analyst, so to speak, he's still got a little gas in the tank. But no, in this matchup, I'm definitely taking Noble. Like I said, they're one of the toughest teams we've ever seen in Gears right now. Gears 5, so it's hard to go against them.
Well, I'll use this chance to remind you the last time we kept track of predictions was the last spring major, and it was John first, Jordan second, Ryan in third. So keep that in mind. Remember that order, my friends.
I need the receipts.
I'll pull up the Discord chat. Let's get to Toby. Toby, who you got?
Sure. I think, honestly, Noble are going to win this one. The key to victory, honestly, for Rebel was to win the executions. And when I saw Speyer, I was like, okay, maybe they have the chance of actually beating Noble on that mode, their best mode of Control after their performance we saw yesterday against E United. But unfortunately, Noble are looking absolutely phenomenal this event so far. I don't think Rebel can beat them on Speyer. And as a result, Noble will definitely win the series.
No, Goalie, I won't do it to you. I was texting in chat to see if I was going to flip. I was thinking about flipping. I can flip. I got confirmation. You know what? You got to risk it to get the biscuit.
I like it.
My man Ryan once told me in a casino once, scared money don't make money. We're going Rebel, 3-2. I'm pulling a Jordan Ribs right now. Rebel's going to win this one some way, somehow. Identivez and SuMuNs on Saturday. Are you kidding me? You think they're losing to Toti and friends? No, not happening.
I do think that, actually. I think Toby thinks so, too.
Yeah, I know, but you're wrong. I got Rebel 3-2 in this one, and I'm excited nonetheless. It's going to be a fun match, that's for sure. I want to take a quick moment to thank our partners in UMG, Astro Gaming, and Blue Microphone. Thank you so much for supporting Gears Esports. But for now, we have our casters just about ready to call this one. It's going to be a great one. Noble versus Rebel. Get hyped in the chat. Vamos Rebel. Vamos Noble. Let us know who you want to win. You guys rooting for Identivez? You got your boy, King Identivez? Let's hear it. I need your support too. Let's go ahead and throw it over to Blaze and Reflections over at the cast. I want to hear your predictions as well, boys.
Oh, want to hear our predictions, huh? It's hard. Me and Blaze are talking about this. It's a tough one to decide, but if I had to decide, I got to go with Noble. They've been looking unstoppable. They have a chip on their shoulder. Second places, they want first, and they are hungry for it. Plus, the chance of getting a rematch of Pioneers. The Core Sid Pioneers ended up making it through into the next round. Hey, they are chomping at the bit for that. But Blaze, who would you go for if you had to choose?
Man, this is about to be a great matchup, okay, between two of our top LATAM teams. And I will say this to Fallout prediction. When I was looking at that map cycle, I say if we do go to map 5 Clocktower, I think Rebel can beat Noble there, okay?
Absolutely.
And with that being said, I'm going to double down with John, okay? I'm going to go in and I'm going to say that if we go to map 5 in this series, Rebel will win it. They'll come away with it.
Okay, but if we don't go to map 5, you're probably going with Noble. Is that what I'm hearing?
Well, so the thing is that you look at the controls, right? And it's going to be super important for Rebel to strike first in this series, okay? District control, I think that they can come away with it, but also at the same time, Noble is our best control team. And Taylor, we were talking about it. Rebel got their best 2 control maps in this series, so that's great for them. But when we come around in Training Grounds, it's going to be a slugfest, okay? I think Training Grounds is going to be Rebel's best escalation map. So this cycle could be set up for them. Also, Identivez tweeted the other day. He said, life is crazy, but I'm in love with her. Okay. So
did he?
He said life is crazy, but I'm in love with her. All right.
That's deep.
It was real deep though. But when it comes from Identivez, I just feel like he's been having a lot of fun just gaming again, right? And when a king is having fun gaming again, I think you need to be afraid of him. All right. He's in the championship bracket with the best team he's had in a long time. Don't sleep on Rebel.
Don't sleep on Rebel. You can't sleep on Rebel. They are one of the 2 teams to beat the Pioneers. So let's see if they can beat Noble tonight, their arch nemesis. It's a scrappy fight off the rip, and Cinema for sure. Xploidz trying to hold his ground. Demon wanted to go for a push, but couldn't get away quick enough. He ends up getting gunned down. Crack trying to just piggyback off his boy, but Identivez, last one standing, cleared out, and Noble Blaze will win the first team fight.
Yeah, beautiful team fight there from Noble, and they got the power weapons to battle to as well. Now, as you're going to see, spreading out the map, 38 seconds left in the hill. Rebel's on the wrong side of the map right now. The next hill is going to be across at Arcade. Luckily for them, Identivez is already on the rotation. Player 5 is already went to go flip the spine as well. So Rebel's thinking like, hey, you know what? Yeah, we lost a big battle to kick off the game, but let's not lose the war.
Let's not lose the war, right? That's the big thing. Fearzly still drop shot in hand. Hopefully it doesn't go to waste. But luckily, he doesn't have any members, coming at least behind him. So that's always a good thing, right? We've seen some drop shots wasted today. Nice shot, though, from Demon to take down Dyslexic. Xploidz obviously now having the drop shot in his hands. Couple of players in front of him. No worries, though. Should be just fine. Obviously, Noble needing to break the defensive setup of Rebel, which is still getting solidified, mind you. It's not like Rebel is set in stone here. So Noble has an opportunity to go ahead and discombobulate them, starting by taking down Demon. And look at the Wolfpack onto him. Nowhere he can go.
But also the 2v1 across map, okay? Rebel knew that they had to find numbers of their own. Almost a big play being made there by Toti, but couldn't get it done. Even with the 3v1 being taken in spawn, Rebel, they kept their numbers. And they're actually going to rotate through the spawn again. I thought they may have tried to contest that hill down low and kind of met them together, but the timing didn't work out for them. And take note, his drop shot is still in play. It hasn't been used in a while. I don't think this is the second one on the map. I think this is still the first.
It's
and it's about to get used. Look at them, 3 players lined up. But the discipline there from Xploidz. Yeah, this is the time. SuMuNs gets taken out. And now you're going to start to see Noble start collecting on some time.
All right. Honestly, the way I was looking at that, it was a bit off kilter. I thought he was going to get a 2-piece, but now 1 is fair enough, and you see Noble locking it down. The lead starting to gain even more so. They're going to break 100 by the time they rotate 4 new. So Noble playing it very well. We talked about control being their strongest game mode, but obviously Rebel getting 2 of their best control maps. But right now, it's looking like Noble's best map. Rebel needs to step it up without question. But the big thing that I've noticed that's Rebel struggling to deal with, man, unless SuMuNs could just maybe flip the script on that talking point, is they're wolf packing together. But what a shocking, what a play, what a drop shot. 3 for 1. Hey, you take that any day of the week.
Oh, mucho buena, Xploidz. Look at him with the 3-piece drop shot. That's going to just destroy all of Rebel's confidence there, because they were looking good, because I was about to say, Taylor, momentum flip, right? You were just talking about it, but then Xploidz was like, Blaze, don't you say another word. Great job to him. 60 seconds on his hill. But look at this, though. Rebel, they've rotated down low. Now, this is where next is. It's still way too much time on this hill to be there. Sure. They're going to pick up this kill, but the respawn comes in across map. Player 3 gets blessed with putting his team in an even better setup. Also, with Fearzly and Dyslexic picking up these kills with this initial push from Rebel, Noble, their setup is looking good right now. More kills coming through. At this point, just set up. Rebel's going to have to just rotate and play for next again. But my God, look at the score.
You can't keep doing that, though. Yeah.
Yeah, at a certain point, you're just going to have to just make every hill scrappy and just fight whatever fight you see.
Yeah. Definitely so. Dyslexic holding his ground in that, I believe, over in green. And the fact that he picks up 2 there is huge because you break through that. Now you got an off angle that Rebel is able to solidify. And then, breaking the hill is made a lot easier. It's not a guarantee, but a lot easier. So Dyslexic played a big role in the fact that Noble was able to hold down literally every single point. And mind you, they did hold down every single point from that last hill blaze. Rebel didn't get a touch once nor a break. So they immediately forced the rotation. They're playing for next. And Xploidz has been a nuisance, an absolute nuisance, not only with the drop shot, but also just kind of keeping Rebel's head on a swivel, and I like that he's doing that. So if Rebel doesn't get the ball rolling on this hill blaze, it might be over with before it even gets started.
It might be. It might be some unfortunate team fights going down from Rebel, but it looks like they've kept their composure so far. Identivez will fall towards the mid-map, but can a kill get traded out? It's up to SuMuNs to try to get it done. The down is there. Xploidz will fall to crack. SuMuNs retreats, gets in a cover, puts himself in a position to deliver a great shot, but can't get the kill. This hill is down low, 50 seconds on it. Rebel, they're winning some big fights right now, Taylor, but the biggest fight down low at Bandstand was just lost. It was won by Toti, so he has great positioning for his team up the mid-map, and they have another drop shot as well. Noble is just making it so hard on Rebel to get their footing on this map.
Yeah, they're going to break 200 before Rebels even broke 30, Blaze. That is definitely worrisome, to say the least. Xploidz, 3rd time he's had the drop shot. Identivez had his hands on it just a little bit earlier, but Xploidz did a good job baiting him out and taking him out. And you know what? Xploidz is doing a really good job at holding on to it and keeping it in his hands. And, well, I guess up until that point, right? But he's going to take down 2 of his teammates, and that is going to hurt. That can't happen.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. That is unfortunate. Just comes out of nowhere. Just, double kill there. But really talk about the blessings that Rebel needed in this moment, right? That's one of them. That's one of many in which they're going to need to overcome this deficit. 200 almost 200-point lead for Noble. Now you see Rebel set up. They got a player in the back of the spawn. That's good to see. That's going to make it so hard for these players to come out of the juice and even contest. But with player 1 going down low, he's going to try to go man-on-man with Crack here on the rotation. But the fight's going to break out soon. Granted, Noble has a lot of time to work with. They don't have to rush this, Taylor. A down comes through. Dyslexic, Fearzly. That shock is going to stop them momentarily. The revive comes through. This is a clean 2v2 fight at the door. Solid shots. Now a 3v2 fight. A Lancer brought out by Demon. Great play from him to be able to give his team that slight advantage, that increased output, and then the switch up, meat shield.
Oh, he needed that. He needed that. Speaking in regards to Demon, he gets that, man. You can honestly say the momentum might shift. The fact of the matter is, for Rebel, when they were at that 49-210 mark, it's scary. It is scary to look at a deficit like that, but it's not impossible to come back by any means. Now, if Noble gets above 250, or even honestly at this point now to 49, now it starts to get into the realms of, not impossible, but very slim that Rebel's going to be able to come back. So they need to get the ball rolling, but they're just not. And again, I go back to my original point when we started. Noble's doing a great job of wolf packing together, but even as individuals, case in point, Dyslexic holding his ground. We've seen him perform so incredibly well. 13k damage. He's got 11 kills and 18 assists. Look, that doesn't happen by mistake. That happens because you are playing your heart out and you want to become a champion. 254 to 49 Rebel. They're not out of it yet, but they're knocking on the door.
But I will say this about Rebel's playstyle currently, Taylor. Even though they're losing majority of these team fights, they're still playing some good control, okay? They're making a proper rotation. They're putting themselves in positions. They're taking the right fights versus power weapons and heals. It's just that it's unfortunate they're losing a few. And you also see a lot of clutch plays coming out from Xploidz. It's just a lot to deal with for them, but they've stayed composed, and now they have to just flip it over and just start making some plays in their end. Now, who do you need to lean on for that? I'm looking for 2 players, okay? Demon and Identivez, all right? They got to turn up right now, start getting some multi-kills for the squad if they're going to make this amazing comeback. If not, let all that anger out in execution.
They're going to have to. At this point, it's getting away 285 and counting to 53. Definitely not. Oh, no, you can't, guys. It's too early for that, even though it's 291. Let them live. It was still a good game, right? Well, at least Blaze had to say. I'm definitely going to get your opinion more onto that, but that should be all she wrote. 300 to 53. Woo! Sheesh. That is a W for Noble. And you know what? Coming into this series, it was gonna, and I actually told you this, Blaze, before we went live. Is there's two outcomes that I saw.
Yeah.
Noble either dominates this series, or Rebel has a close series and beats Noble. But either way, right? I didn't see Rebel dominating the series. I saw Noble. If there's anybody going to do it, was him. Fearzly didn't die, by the way. Not 0 deaths, 9 kills, 15 assists. Fearzly did not die that entire time. Now, I do have to ask your opinion because you brought up a point that did surprise me, but I just want you to elaborate a little bit more, Blaze. You said Rebel was, believe it or not, playing good control. You thought they were playing composed. You thought they were playing well. Well, the scoreline being 300 to 53. No, I'm not throwing you under the bus. I genuinely want to understand because this is the thing. Does it come down to strictly Noble was just outslaying them, and that was it, bottom line? Like, a team can play good, but they can just simply get outslayed and lose, even though they're not playing bad, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, you're correct, Taylor, okay? And it kind of goes with this next point I want to make, and why I was looking the way that I was looking is, Fearzly didn't die, right? Yep. And it really goes into, I want to use that as a point to talk about his play style for the team and how he's constantly supporting the squad, putting himself in great positions, and being annoying to his opponents. Okay, look at him. He stopped the clutch, right? The anti-clutch right there. That was him taking out Demon from making a big play that could have got some momentum for Rebel there in that situation. But Fearzly just never died. And if he's playing like that, my God, I don't know if anybody could beat Noble, okay? For real.
That's right.
And just one player playing at that level stopped everything that Rebel did to get back into the series. We were wondering, I saw Rebel playing good control, but you saw the score was what it was. That's because of Fearzly.
Crazy. Yeah, Fearzly not dying. That's scary. We're in the major. We're getting deep into the champ bracket, and you have a player that doesn't die. 300 to 53. Of course, Rebel's not happy with that, but you can't dwell on it too much longer, right? You just got to let it go and head into checkout execution. Noble, they're great when it comes to control. It's just the reality of it. Concerning that Rebel is good on district, but it is what it is. Again, it's over with. It's done with. It's dusted. It's almost like getting 5-0 in escalation. Sometimes you just got to move on to the next control. But in this case, we're moving to execution. It's going to be on checkout. Now, Blaze, Noble has had a difficult time on checkout execution. They have cleaned it up in the final weeks of Pro League for Split 1. Yeah. But they still have showed that they can struggle there. So in my opinion, Rebel, if they're going to tie it up, this is their moment to do so.
Whenever we see Noble looking at their weakest, it's because they're losing those execution maps, okay? Those round-based game modes. Now, for the most part, they're still, top 2 escalation squad out there. You don't want to see them on Vasgar. If you want any hopes of beating them, you got to get them to at least maybe a harbor or a training grounds, and then it's still going to be hard. But you can always see their consistency in control, okay? And that last map, man, it was really good for them. But now as we shift on over, Rebel, these round-based game modes, this is where they're going to have to turn up, Taylor, all right? So when it comes down to checkout, they're going to have to really shut down those inner lanes at the secondary and that platform. I want to see Rebel also, too, kind of play for that snipe out wide. I think those two play styles, two objectives to play for on checkout can do them well. But, at the end of the day, Noble, they've lost checkout a bunch. This is where you're going to have to beat them, okay? You're going to have to take them out on execution if you want to take this team down. Games 2, games 5, and then you're going to have to try to steal a respawn away from them, okay? Steal an escalation or control.
And I'm going to up the ante a little bit more. I'm going to put it more so the ball in the court of Rebel. This is a must win. If they go down 2-0 to Noble heading into training grounds, I've got to favor Noble on training grounds. They play that very well. They're comfortable. It's one of their better maps, actually. And they're a team that's been changing the meta that other teams have been kind of adopting, and that's placing a snipe in hell early on, whether they're winning or losing. They just love that fight. Noble's feeling confident. The slaying power is definitely benefiting Noble, and that slaying power might benefit limit them here on checkout. You mentioned Rebel swinging wide for snipe. Well, funny enough, that's what Noble likes to do. In fact, that's what made Noble successful on this map. Not in the last split, not in split 1, but in the split before this during season 2, the final split, split 3. Noble was great at swinging wide. So if they do that and Rebel can counteract that, they'll be just fine. Curious who the 1v players are going to be. If we'll have any at all. Toti looked as if he may be wanting to go over there, but he doesn't. So Identivez off the rip. He'll get instants and get out for free.
Now, he still has both instants in hand. He's going to put one down towards the center, just a little bit too short to get him the kill in which he needs. But he's holding on to this second one real tightly. He sees multiple options in front of him. It's going to have to be a blind fire, perfectly lined up. No twirling, no crosshairs. He's just going to have to get a great toss, and Toti could be his target. Identivez have lined up plenty of nades like this in his career over the days. It's going to be a good one, too.
Needs to be a good one. Fearzly. But he puts away the instant. That could have been a connection, but either way, all is right. Still 3v4. Instant thrown out. Dyslexic has the off angle, but can't make anything happen just yet. There is a trade, though. Toti actually does die through the flames, and that sends Dyslexic flying back to join his teammates on the back line. It's a tense moment, but Crack has an opportunity. Can't get the finish onto Fearzly, but there it is. Finally, he dies off. Dyslexic is down. So is Xploidz. And ladies and gentlemen, there it is. Rebel will fight back, plus gets some love in return and send Dyslexic's head flying. Rebel, they lead 1-0.
All right, good job there to Rebel, okay? They got those incinerators early on. They brought them back, and they had a little pause. They also knew as well not to get ready to make another offensive move because they were going to get a rebuttal back from Noble, okay? Because they cannot let the map settle and give up a free power weapon without contesting it. Noble contested. They made one incendiary come out, and they reset the map. But from there, you know, Rebel, they found their opportunities. But let's see how this breaks out this round.
Already first blood. Dyslexic will die off. Identivez once again getting the instance. And immediately puts it to use on a 2-piece. That was picture perfect. Beautiful job. Fearzly nowhere to go. He gets 3 for 2. And Identivez is feeling himself, and Rebel feeling more confident than ever. 20 seconds. That round was impressive.
Ooh, he got the high hands today.
Look at that. Zeros across the board for Noble. Only one guy with one elimination. And Identivez 6-0, mind you, with the first blood. Hey, not looking too bad. He might be rivaling Power soon enough if he keeps going at this rate.
I told you, man, he having fun. Okay, he been having fun gaming lately. I don't know if it's Halo, if it's Gears, whatever. You know, Xbox been popping lately, all right? He been all over online, so having fun. Summons first blood on Dyslexic. Xploidz gets the incendiaries. But now he has the weapon to work with. But this is where Rebel has to show some discipline. You see how they back up? They say, okay, let's let them push up a bit. Use these nades for now. But also, frag grenades are still up down low. You have to respect the snipe. And you know Xploidz, since he has those incendiaries, he can do his best just zoning out these players at the back checkout to pick up his favorite weapon in a long shot and make a big play.
Ah, man. So Rebel up 2-0. Dyslexic has been first blooded now the third. I think that's the third round he's been first blooded, if I'm not mistaken, all 3. So this is Dyslexic has to change something, man. He can't keep dying like he is. It's just not going to happen. Demon swings wide. He's forced to because of the flames. He still gets it down, but Fearzly is going to be able to get the pickup. But either way, the pressure is real, and Rebel is collapsing in 4v2. Fearzly and Xploidz just trying to hold their ground. Last stand, if you will. Demon ready to pop a head off, and well, he's going to get the body. That'll work just fine, and Fearzly will die, and Rebel now leads 3-0. Literally flawless.
Literally, okay? And you know what was great about that play that Rebel made? It was who they downed, okay? They downed a player in the back lane, which made that super important, is that the players in the front, they had a difficult decision. Oh, do I go forward, or and, you know, take a 1v4, or go get my teammate? That brought the rest of the squad time to really clean up the kills in the inside, the one player. But
oh yeah, every time, baby.
Yeah, it's all good.
All the time. It is.
But,
it is what it is.
Oh yeah, it's a quick one. Let's go.
Is it? No one lagged out. We're just
a quick one. Yeah, controller disconnect or something like that. That's what we'll say. Yeah.
Okay, all right, that's fine. Hey, take a breather.
And I will say this too as well. You know, when it comes down towards execution, like if the front spawn, if something janky happens, like it's all about timing. You lose a step, you may lose the round, okay? And it's always been like that with execution and playing for center line power weapons and making big power positions on the map.
All right, Identivez once again on plat. This time Dyslexic goes for the challenge. First blood for the first time is going to go to the way of Noble, followed up by 2 quickly, and SuMuNs now down in a flawless round for Noble. And that controller, I guess, was really acting up. He either switched out or something, Blaze, but once Noble switched up that controller, they finally went around, and that's going to be a solid one. Good job from them. And again, it was that first blood. You know, Noble in the first 3 rounds, Blaze, had not got first blood. In fact, it was Dyslexic who died first blood all 3 of the first rounds. They get first, they convert it to a W. It seems as if they found out how to win. Chat, you got to challenge Identivez and get him away from those instants. He's too deadly.
Get the support though. The flash is coming in from the squad, well placed. He's in a corner. He's tough. L trigger doesn't hit too good, but the revive is there. The pressure from Crack. That's 1. That's 2. How many can they clean up? It's a 2v2. The nades were not picked up by any of these players that are still alive. They may be on a platform somewhere. Demon, he's gonna get him, but can he get out? SuMuNs, what can he do in this situation? He will get his teammate out momentarily. The back A, revive, it's a reset. Demon with a blind fire. Now, 2v1 Taylor, he just flipped this around.
Oh, he's getting sandwiched too. He's getting sandwiched. No shot. Toti wins this. You got to battle against Demon and SuMuNs, and there it is. Good angles from Demon and SuMuNs. That was a tense battle for the plat for sure. And I believe Noble ended up getting first blood there, but Rebel, cool, calm, and collected ended up flipping the script. They lead 4-1. Let's get a replay.
Yeah, that back A coming back for the revive. Oh. Yeah, at that point, it was even. Then Demon moves up, the blind fire over the cover. It was great. Just great awareness there from Rebel. They're playing some great execution, but that's what they need to do if they're going to beat Noble.
All right, Identivez once again getting aggressive this time around. It's going to be Noble who's controlling the plat, but doesn't mean they get the instants. Bottom side, though, is all Rebel, and SuMuNs immediately getting a nice body. Nobody able to get the finish. But whoa, hold on, look at this Congo line of players just down. Forced to go for the revive, and Rebel is just hitting shot after shot, and Noble has to be feeling the pressure. In fact, it's a 4v2, and SuMuNs has hit literally every single body shot. Fearzly, he's coming back into the pistol. It doesn't matter. He's getting sandwiched. That's 5-1. If Rebel needed an answer, I mean, SuMuNs do it to him. Get that 360.
When it comes down to amazing sniper gameplay, we'll raise the roof up in here, okay?
I know.
But when it comes down to great sniper gameplay, we glorify a lot of headshots. He done missed a single bullet in that clip.
Not one.
A single bullet.
See, body shots are currency, brother.
Yes, they are. Look at this damage.
Look at these Velvet players just in the corner.
2, 3.
Oh, yeah.
Here we go. It's a 4th that just happened to the pistol shots, right? Just constant damage. That's DPS right there, baby.
All right, here it is. Rebel 1 round away from tying this series up 1-1. No frills, no thrills, just straight business. You love to see it. You really do. Again, Identivez does such a great job this round, but he'll get dropped. No worries. He's back into the fight. It's a straight up 4v4. Xploidz keeping that pressure down low on the SuMuNs, forcing him to back up, and this is where the breakout attempt goes, but maybe a bit off more than they can chew. Rebel, an opportunity maybe to flip the script, but it seems as if Noble standing their ground and holding their own, and now it's time to give some love back.
Yeah, they just gotta do it. I think it's part of the contract, you know? Like, win or lose, you gotta taunt, right? Like, win or lose, you gotta really show a little bit of love.
I'm telling you, that last beatdown, though, was not this one, but the round before was brutal. That was the most brutal I've ever seen. I'll be real with you.
It truly was, okay? Rebel, they were feeling it right there, but it's okay. They had a 5-1 lead. They can start that trash talk if they want to. They got enough time to recover if things start going south. Now, as we head into this next round, you think about a lot that we've been seeing, that's been successful for Rebel, right? And Identivez have had a lot of pressure towards the inside of this platform, grabbing these nades, making sure that he can zone out the rest of these Noble members and put them into some difficult positions. Oh, a cutback. The switch up, hold up, wait a minute. And they already sold 2 to start. Player 4 already in position. Rebel, they've been in the lab.
Yeah, we've literally not seen this. This is wild, actually.
In the lab.
So overtime mail has to be in electronics, correct?
That's the only way I run this strat.
Well, Identivez might be soloed out here. Has to hold his ground. 1v3. He's got some help from the back, but it's not going to matter. He'll fall. That's going to be first blood. 4v3 now. Xploidz still sniper in hand, being challenged by Demon. Misses the first body. Demon closing the gap. Crack also took down Identivez as well. Which that was with his own item. My apologies. So either way, inconsequential.
Okay.
Demon takes down Fearzly, but Rebel still with the man disadvantage. Xploidz lines up a nice body. SuMuNs, though, still gets away.
Oh, but they don't know he's in a spawn. Oh, he misses. SuMuNs got the cross on him. They may get the down. They did get the down. It's a 2v1 with Toti on top of the spawn. They're going to clean up the kill. That is Sniper out of play. The turnaround. They need one good point blank, but Toti can't make it happen, and Rebel wins the map.
And they did it in style. That was a dominating win and something we needed to see, especially if you're a Rebel fan after losing District 353. That 6-2 victory and the way they did it, hey man, literally picture perfect. Identivez, SuMuNs, everybody having a field day. And I gotta say, I am truly impressed. Well, that ties up the series 1-1. And we got Map 3 Training Grounds. That's gonna be coming up next. It's gonna be a good time. Don't go anywhere. Map 3 Training Grounds coming up after this. And welcome back, everybody, to the Gears Fall Major. 2 maps down, and we're tied 1-1 apiece between Noble and Rebel. It's been a great series. 2 very different maps. Okay, you look at map number 1, District. District ended up 300s of 53. It was the most dominant win I've seen in quite some time. Noble ended up getting that one. Checkout, though, complete opposite. We see a 6-2 victory for Rebel. I gotta say, man, Blaze, Rebel was cruising. Let's break down the final round, though, right? Because that's where Noble had the advantage. It seemed as if they were gonna bring it 5-3, stay alive. But then Rebel flips the script, and they end up winning 6-2.
Yeah, correct. Now, that final strategy, I love how Rebels sold it, is that they were all about to go over there towards the platform when Noble ran 4 over there. So during that time frame, Rebel, they went to the other side of the map, they grabbed nades, and they took over on the spawn. And Noble had actually a great reaction to it. They were very decisive on which side they wanted to push, and they knew where the nades were, so they pushed away from them. That's the only reason why that strategy didn't work out for Rebel, is that the nades didn't rotate where he needed to. So he has to stay in a neutral position and find the majority of his opponents there and gravitate those nades that direction. But ultimately, you see here in this clip, they clutched up. It was Crack. It was SuMuNs. They got the job done at the end of the day. And I want to say those were the 2 players that initially started that rotation towards the other side of the map. But ultimately, Rebel threw a plethora of different strategies out there towards Noble. You think about how aggressive they was towards the platform to kick that one off. Identivez making big plays there. They showed us that they can play out wide for the sniper. They can play defensively. And they got a few trick strategies around the frag grenades as well.
So we're heading into Training Grounds Escalation, map number 3, an opportunity for either team, Noble or Rebel, to take a 2-1 lead. Now, this is one that I do think Noble is the better team on, but I did have a chance to check the stats last time they met up against each other. I think it went to round 9. Rebel was nipping on the heels of Noble, looking to beat them. That series between them was actually really good during Pro League. I remember watching it. So this Training Grounds could be very close, especially now that Rebel has some win in themselves after winning a dominant checkout 6-2. So Noble now needs to step it up and, take the bull by the horns, if you will. I'm looking at Dyslexic because he had a very lackluster performance on checkout. He was first blooded literally the first 3 rounds. So I'm all eyes on him because if he's having a bad game, Noble really does hurt.
Yeah, I agree with you. If he is having a bad game, Noble, when it comes down to those round-based game modes where they rely a lot of him towards those front 2 spawns to make a play and get that initial damage, if he's not doing that, the rest of the team is difficult for them, okay? Also, too, as well, when it comes down towards respawn, that's where he's going to thrive at. I feel where he's going to thrive at. I feel like a player that has a similar playstyle to him is Rushies, and they cause a lot of commotion on a map in which the other core 3 that be in most of the team fights, they can make plays around that. So we'll see how Dyslexic's performance is going to be, but we do know one thing is that when it comes down to it, they're going to need him to make some big plays at the top of the overlook.
I like this play from Identivez, keeping it loose in mid. Now he can double back onto B, help Demon get the neutral. And he can also play the flex player and go back to C. It just depends on what he's kind of feeling at the moment. Sense of urgency doesn't really have to be there as of yet. I think Identivez might have a tech issue. Yeah, so it looks like might have a bit of a replay for round number 1. We'll see what's taking place. Yeah, SuMuNs actually just lagged out. Tough break because Noble had a really good start there. So curious how that's going to end up being played out, whether Noble has a 1-0 lead or if we just redo the whole thing. But hey, 1-1 in the series. Pioneers, though, they're on trading grounds, and they're leading 2-0. So Pioneers looking to take a 2-1 lead.
But Team Queso,
Team Queso proving that they're a solid. Am I reading stuff wrong? No, there's no way. It says 1-1. And it's Pioneers is up 2-all on trading grounds.
Yeah, we're gonna find out soon there, folks. Okay, on that score line. But man, oh man, all right. Will Queso coming to fight today? Back into this one, round number 2 on board. SuMuNs, he's gonna be moving up top. It's gonna be a 2v2 fight. Dyslexic on the flank, aggressive to start, but SuMuNs missing a few shots to really take advantage of Dyslexic's over aggression. They are able to get the kill, and Xploidz will fall. The revive comes through, and now you're going to start to see Rebel move on over towards that home hill. It's going to be a Mr. Krabs situation for Fearzly, also as well as Toti. To get this one all tied up 1-1.
It's over. Wrap it up. Look at that play from Rebel. Hey, they had a lot of time to talk it out, figure it out, and they ended up doing it. That great job and a good reaction. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, because I was kind of deviating, side station and then also here. Yeah, there it is. Shock in the midline placement. That's interesting, and that makes things super unique. And someone says, well, let's make it more unique. Okay, let's even get something over on the top where the neutral's going to be in.
Ooh,
Yo,
I'm with it.
Blaze, this is different. I'm liking it.
Oh, this got spicy, you guys, okay? That was so... when is the last time we saw this strategy?
Literally never. I don't think ever.
No. It was either when we either the last portion of the Escalation era of the Esports, or when we first came back towards 4v4. But squads realized that it's like, hey, bro, just build off the center lines. Don't worry so much about the secondaries and get what you want on the map. And it was working out for a lot of these squads, but we haven't seen it in so long. So I'm loving what I'm seeing out of Rebel. They say, hey, let's make it scrappy and get these nades on the map now.
All right, let's see it. BNC locked in for Rebel. Big battle for Demon and Fearzly. And that could open up the door maybe to get onto A. We might see a repeat of Rebel's round from last round. Maybe a bit of a domination. But Toti is going to shut down Identivez. And then he's going to be able to double back and help the fight against SuMuNs and Go, who's going to be on the Overlook fight. But SuMuNs holding his ground. SuMuNs really holding his ground. Hold up. Is he going to get a 3-piece here? Well, there's a chance, but doubles back and Xploidz takes him out. But he put up one hell of a fight. And you're right, it was almost. But it seems like Noble is going to be recovering. They'll get the neutral, and they'll have the 2-1.
All right, now, Fearzly, he's trying to get this B hill capped, and he should have no issues at this moment. His teammates will be behind him. They're going to have his back on the flip end. It's going to be, you see Noble set up top. Yeah, great defensive setup. AB locked in. Now, Rebel, how do they need to break this one? They're waiting for their teammates to come off the respawn. It seems like Crack has been dead for forever, but he's back into the mix. I think Rebel is going to start focusing a little bit more towards his B hill, or split up into a 2-2. They don't have much time to, well, they got a lot of time to work with. But them, they just want to make sure they can identify this man-on-man situation. They all got a guy, they're marking them, they're coming up with a play, and then they'll have some time to execute. Tie game, well, lead just shifted.
Lead just shifted. Noble's got to hold on here. 2-1 back in Noble's favor. Things get scary for Rebel, but Demon trying to get the... Actually, he's got a player just below him, and he finally gets the pick up. Good on him. So now it's going to be Too Strong, who can be pressuring up to B. Player 7 is going to go ahead and commit everything. Push player 4 to the brink, but he might be thinking twice. Fearzly's off the respawn. So things are getting tense. Rebel does, in fact, have the win condition already. And with them closing out the deficit very quickly, this is a round that they can easily take as long as they can just stop Del Noble on one more retake attempt. 13 seconds, we're going to have the new instance coming into play. And player 6, Crack, is right there to get them. And it looks like Rebel, they're going to be cruising to victory here unless Noble, they commit everything and they make it work.
All right, Noble, we'll see how much they want to commit. It's going to have to be whatever they have in a situation. But you see a quick rotation down towards B to try to get this decap. Dyslexic's going to be patient as long as he can before he has to push across. But he does want to make a play towards the home hill. He's going to need to, because at this point, everything is going to need to be decapped if if Noble wants to win this round. Players 1 and 2, he will not make it there in time.
was close. Xploidz just a little bit too far on the outside. Good round from Rebel. Got a bit shaky, right? Noble ended up coming back, but Rebel did a wonderful job. And I got to ask you, how much of an impact do you think those instants and shocks placements, which are incredibly unique, is impacting Noble's placements, or at least a Noble strategy?
It's impacted a lot because that pretty much these weapons it's 50-50 for whoever can get them. Now, after you win initial, you're gonna have a few weapons to be able to work with on this map too as well. To be able to, really lock down these choke points, because when it comes down to pushing from home hill to home hill, those incendiaries at those stairways, it's great for zoning, right? That's going to buy you some time and make it difficult for people to come back to have to retake those power positions. Also on the flip end, the shock grenade is going to be very useful as well. It's more so too also to be annoying and block off whatever strategy Noble had working with that free shot grenade on the map. Rebel just wants to make sure they can get into these fights, and with having those weapons down center line, they can do just that.
A big push from Crack, tries to hit that side shot. Unfortunately, or excuse me, he did take down Xploidz. Good for him. And now Dyslexic's going to be on the outside. Toti's going to be pushing up. Crack holding his ground. It's going to be a 1-2 punch. Identivez there, but not in the nick of time. He now puts himself in a 1v2. Trying to hold his ground as long as he possibly can. Noble, though, is getting some reinforcements. It's now 3v2, or 3v1, I should say. And Dyslexic definitely not letting the moment get away from him. He's going to go ahead and show some love in the round while it's hot. And it's only 65-49, and Noble is down one round. But looks like Rebel going to be putting some emphasis onto B. That's going to be SuMuNs and Crack on the opposite end, and they might even commit Identivez, but no, Identivez is going to go up top and help player 7. So it's going to be a 2-2 split for both rosters.
All right, and this is going to be good for Rebel, so they can just identify their 2-2v2 fights and see if they can break through and be there for each other on a revise. But there's that incendiary grenade, and what I was talking about, using that to zone, slow down that push of your opponent, just keep building up on some more time. They're doing a good job there. Now, as this one is starting to slow down, you see how Noble's backing up? They say, okay, well, we know that they may put some focus here towards the other end of the map. The call out is there that Crack, he's trying to stretch it, pull back a few of these players, and that was smart by him. He stretched 2 players back towards their spine. That allowed an opening for Rebel to get here towards the middle portion and possibly get a decap down here on B. And they're also clutching up. Crack gets 2 with some help from Identivez as well.
Absolutely. Crack doing a great job, and this is a moment that Rebel needs, but look who snuck through. Player 4, Toti, is going to be on the opposite home hill, and that's going to keep at least 1 hill to the name of Noble, getting them that much closer to the 250 mark. He's going to hold on a little bit longer. In the meantime, though, Noble's going to be fighting hard for C, and player 1, Xploidz, will in fact get the kill onto player 5, and 7 will fall shortly after, thanks to Fearzly. And Noble, once again, having that 1 hill they need to be successful here. But 35 seconds can be an eternity, and Rebel, they're going to be coming off the respawn, but with player 2 being on B, might be all she wrote. I think we're about to be tied up 2-2 going into the second half.
Yeah, that's what it's looking like, Taylor. Noble so far has had some great defense with the 2 hills in which they've had, and they've made it very, very difficult for Rebel to get through those tight lanes at the overlook, and also that tight alley down low between the home hills and that lower alleys. Noble, they play some great defense, all right? So good job to them there, but now we're going to head into round number 5, and these hills are going to flip. So your home hills will be at that lower portion of the map. And also, I'm going to say that we may see a power weapon on this side. You got to ask yourself, what do you want to put here? Which one of these squads is going to have a stronger home hill setup as well? Ooh. I think they both know how to play it great, but I haven't seen a Hammerburst go down in forever. Yeah, right. But it's going to be annoying to have to push down that lane because you know how powerful that weapon can be.
Right. Yeah, it's incredible. It truly is. This is a funky looking map, but I'm liking it. I really am. Instants up top, shocks down low, hammer burst plus the retros. It's a lot of firepower. But look at this. Both teams putting a lot of emphasis for the fight and for the shock, but also for the overlook. And they understand the strong initial is going to set you up for success here. Play rate will actually back off. So that's going to give Noble an opportunity maybe to be strong on this top fight. But I don't know. It's not looking too good. SuMuNs, though, is going to get ran through, and Toti will bring it to a 3v2 up top. Demon falls shortly after, and Crack is also down. Noble will win the neutral.
beautiful plays from Toti right there, okay, to get his team out of a difficult spot, because it was Xploidz who went down first, and he was able to move there towards the inside, find a kill, and continue to put out damage with that pistol. That's going to put the B hill in favor of Noble. They also have their home hill locked in, as well as 2 kills on the map. They're sitting comfortable. They just got to set up. It's going to be Dyslexic who calls out to his team that, hey, I got 3 guys that's going to be pushing me here towards the bottom lane, coming towards our home hill. I need some reinforcements. And he gets all the help in the world, as well as the shot grenade.
Good job from Dyslexic and Toti. I'm telling you, it's a bit too early to be doing this, all right? The first one to dance is the first team to lose, but he's not worried about it, I guess, too much. Either way, I wouldn't criticize Handles for doing it, so why criticize Dyslexic?
Yeah, he vibing. They both cut from the same cloth. Now, not the same color, but it's the same cloth. Now, well, the same cloth would be the same color, right? 2 different play styles is all I'm trying to say. 2 different play styles, okay? That's all I was trying to get at, all right? Fair enough, yeah. But as you see, Noble, look at the defense, man. Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's 3 dead. 3 dead. Up to Crack to really hold this home hill, buy some time for his team to get there. If he can give them 5 more seconds, which they won't get, unless Demon can come in here and make a play, he cannot. SuMuNs, maybe? No. Maybe Identivez. Not. So,
I can't do it.
They make it happen. It's going to be Noble who's taking the lead here, getting the first round of the second half. And now they're in a little bit better position, but they're not out of the weeds just yet. 10,000 damage for Toti and Xploidz. They've been playing well throughout this map so far. Now you really can't build up those retros and those hammer bursts anymore. You can cut down the weapon respawn timer on them. And no one really wants to put a weapon on range just yet. We haven't seen anyone fight for a power weapon down there in a very long time. I see Rebel just building up their secondary. They'll have themselves a hammer burst soon. But from there, some of these squads may be forced to put something down on the last round, unless they just want to continue to half everything.
All right, Noble. Definitely going to be trying their heart out here. Of course, Rebel just the same. Last time we saw this fight, Noble ended up winning, but let's see if Rebel can maybe turn things around. SuMuNs full red, but just to get away. Fearzly and Identivez in a bit of a battle on steps. Obviously, we do have the shock that's going to be just below, so they're going to be fighting for that. Maybe even open up a door to go for the neutral, but Identivez will force him out. Matter of fact, he's going to be full red. Fearzly will double back. Demon will get the shocks, and now we're going to be able to push up. Let's see how this fight up top is going to go. Obviously, Rebel needs to retake E, and it's not going to be easy, but the shock might help, and he's got 2 of them.
Yeah, he got 2 of them. That's the thing. Downtown nade is going to block that player off the stairs for just a little bit, but those shocks are going to be annoying to deal with, especially after they take over E. But SuMuNs goes down right away, so he's going to be out, and those shocks is going to be in the hand of Demon, so he dropped back with him, making sure that he can protect those 2 nades. But right now, Noble, they're just discussing how to continue to fortify their defense. And in order to do that, they have to continue to mark their opponents. And from there, count up the numbers. Where are they going to be majority at the home hill side of the map or majority towards east side? And if you know that, that's where you got to kind of shift over whatever nades in which you have in your numbers. So you see that they do that. They bring the retro over towards this tight quarters. And they're able to get multiple downs. They're going to down out Identivez. And now they know that it's going to be a shoddy fight here to take out.
All right, Fearzly just trying to stay alive here, be a nuisance if he can. But look at this. All hills have been decapped. E being played around with. Obviously, Noble's going to have that as they did, in fact, take down, Demon. Scoreline still in favor of Noble. Plenty of time, though, for Rebel to flip the script and come back in this moment. Noble being at 4-2 would be a scary sight. Dyslexic does have some good shots, though. Crack trying to force him back. And it is going to be a bit of a stalemate for the time being. But with Dyslexic being here, it makes it awkward for Rebel to rotate out. So he's keeping 2 players pinned up.
Yeah, he is. And he's keeping them locked down. But this is his home hill. He's waiting for a little bit more help. But he won't be able to get it. And it's going to be Rebel who's able to push through and take over this round. So great job to them because they took their time in making this play, right? At first, they tried to make it on over there towards the overlook. Didn't work out. I think Toti had the incendiary nades over there. And then once they lost a player, he came off the respawn. They stacked 3 down towards between King Raven and Uplink, the home hill route. And with them standing so tight to each other, they were able to kind of negate some of that damage there from the Retro Lancer and just get close enough. They lost the player in the process, but they got close enough to get into a shotgun fight in which they won, and they dominated the home hills. And from there, they just had to take another 2v2 fight across at Overlook. They're all tied up 3-3 now.
All right, well, let's get into round number 7, all tied up 3-3. Who is going to be at map point? We'll find out soon enough. Last time we witnessed this breakout, it was a bit of a fight on steps over in the transition from the shock as well as to where the neutral would be on the first half. But this time around, more emphasis placed by Rebel down low, kind of foregoing the fight on Overlook to get the shocks and now double back up to E. Dyslexic has the instance, and Rebel's got to push through a small choke point. And Fearzly, for good measure, is going to pick up Demon on the opposite end. So will the commitment for the shocks pay off? Well, I'm not so certain anymore, because now Noble gets even stronger. They got the retro and the hammer burst, and Fearzly is going to wreak havoc with that hammer burst. We're talking about how strong it is, but here comes the push. Good, at least Incin will drop down SuMuNs, but Identivez will break through.
Yeah, he breaks through for now, and as you see, the anti-clutch on the other side of the map has a hammer burst now, okay? And so he is just going to be locking down that entire lane. Demon won't have any fun over there. His teammates, I think, need him across the other side of the map at this E fight, and they're going to also get him there. The question is, I wonder, will he get marked? I don't see no marks over there by him, so they may not know it's going to be a 4-man rush coming off the respawn soon. But Dyslexic able to pick up a kill. And this setup from Noble is going to continue to hold, okay? Just a few players getting staggered out, you know, and also maybe only one player can break through the defense, but ultimately he gets 2v1, and Noble, their defensive setup is great.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic. 161 to 92 and counting. We do see Rebel setting up for a bit of a retake onto D. That's 3 strong, but it's getting to the point where they need all 3 hills. So at one point or another, they need to commit also to get onto E, but failing this push is going to put them in an impossible situation. It looks like that impossible situation, well, just came to fruition. Training Ground's a big map, and you got a lot of ground to cover when you're trying to get on all 3 hills. So this is quickly looking like Noble is going to take a 4-3 lead and be on map point.
Oh, Identivez finds one, but Xploidz taking him out. Ultimately, it is going to be Rebel able to get that heal, but they need more than that, folks. They need a player to have enough time to get over to D, to E, and they will not be able to. It's going to be Noble who goes to map point first. Now, what does Rebel need to do to, you know, really get back in this one, Taylor? I'll tell you one thing: they have to win this initial somehow, some way. Okay. They need to figure out how to either get in here and get these nades, these incendiary nades, and take over this platform, or maybe overextend there towards the home hills. But, you know, as I said, the anti-clutch has that hammer burst watching that lane, so that's not the best play. And we talked about how Demon really had to turn up in this map, but with him getting shut down, it comes down to that 3v3 team fight at Overlook, and Noble's just been dominating that. So ultimately, it's SuMuNs, Crack, and Identivez who have to make a big play this round and get us to this round 9 if you're a Rebel fan.
Yeah, and I'm curious if Rebel is going to actually attempt to fight for instance, but more importantly for the neutral, because remember, last round they didn't, and that gave Noble a distinct advantage. So I need to see Rebel go to Overlook. That's just, you have to do that. It's just, in my opinion, it's silly to fight only for the shocks and then double back to go up to E. Now you're setting up, or you're going against a defensive setup of Noble. You're not committing for more. It just doesn't make sense to me. Anyways, Fearzly is going to be on the flank, and look at the devastating. He is the clutch factor. It seems he'll get dropped, but Xploidz going to pick him back up just in the nick of time, because SuMuNs was out for blood to go for the finish.
Yeah, it was a lot of downs that happened, and it looked like that fight may go in the way of Rebel, but the other members of Noble who are on their side of the map, that duo was able to move in at the right time when their other teammates were getting focused, and now we see Noble about to shut this map down.
Yes, they will. 5-3. Yeah, you can't get through all that flame and fire, so that's going to be a 5-3 victory, and ladies and gentlemen, that means Noble now leads the series 2-1. 1 map away from taking a victory, moving forward to play either against Pioneers or Team Queso, which Pioneers leading 2-1 there, so they're well on their way to moving forward just like Noble is. But Speyer is coming up next, and Speyer is a map that Rebel is fantastic on. And Noble, funny enough, was, at least at first, not a good team on Speyer by any means, but they kept picking it. They continued to pick it, much like they did with Regency, because they just want to get better and better and better on it. Yeah. And they have turned into a great team on Speyer. So this is going to be a close one. Closer, hopefully, than that district.
Yeah, hopefully closer, and we'll see if it is going to be. We talked about how these were Rebels' better control maps coming into this series. Now, even with that being said, you're still playing up against the best squad in that game mode, and that's Noble. And they really showed us it was a masterclass of how to play District. Now, a big portion of that was Fearzly not dying, right? If he's gonna have a similar performance going into the Speyer control, when you see how he played this map, I think he just might, okay? Because he shut Demon down, he did his assignment, and his teammate did theirs, winning the majority of the team fights on the opposite end of the map. And this is what makes Noble so deadly, Taylor, all right? For the most part, they can beat any team in a 4-game series. With the escalation in the two control maps, they're feeling good, and that's really your win condition. You have to take that first execution. Rebel did that part, but now you got to find a way to take another one of these respawn modes against one of the best respawn teams that we have, one of our top 2.
Ooh, yeah, Dyslexic just was having a field day, man, showing the love literally during live rounds. And you said he was vibing, you said he was in that flow state, and he really was. And again, that was a guy that I wanted to see more from, especially after him just having a pretty bad performance on checkout execution, but a good recovery from Noble nonetheless. Would love to see Clocktower though. So Rebel, if they're going to win, if they do win Speyer, honestly wouldn't even be mad, because hey, Clocktower would be exciting. Last time these two met up on Clocktower, it went to round 11, and Rebel ended up getting the victory. So if it does go to map 5, Blaze, like you said before, Rebel, they can win the series.
Yeah, they definitely can, man. They can get it done in that execution, but the hard part's coming up. All right, it's what they haven't been able to do yet. And that's take a respawn, and we're going over to Speyer control. It isn't our newest map added to the cycle. It's been around for a while. So our newest one is Ritual, but Speyer was added right before it. And with the addition of Ritual, I feel like some of our top squads, the newest map, it gets banned a little bit more times than not. And so that forces Speyer to get played more. But squads have adapted to it, and it plays out in a style of Regency, to the point that you're going to have to make sure you rotate early for some of these hills, because there's a lot of open sight lines on the map. And with open sight lines are some big power positions like this top of the stairs right outside of the cathedral. So if you can get there, you'll be able to anchor up and see where all your opponents are going to be respawning, get those marks out, and help your IGL and the rest of the squad just come up with a sound defense to be able to stop them. So we'll see who can do that the best. And if it's any indication of how map number 1 would, that's going to be Noble. And Rebel, they're just going to have to win some gunfights and try to kill Fearzly this time.
Yeah, try to kill Fearzly because he didn't die in the entirety of the 9 minutes on District. That just simply doesn't happen. It really is an anomaly, but it was great to see nonetheless. Look, going into Speyer, one thing that I do want to take note of, or at least for chat to take note of, there was a great performance that we've seen from Rebel. Obviously, one of the two teams, Noble being the other team, to beat Pioneers. And the first map that they ended up going in on for control was on Speyer. And Demon was the guy that popped off and went massive. He was instrumental, absolutely critical to beating Pioneers. He ended up dropping 21 kills. He only had 9 deaths, 25 assists. He had 24,000 damage, just shy of 25,000. So Demon is really the guy that if he pops off, if they can beat Pioneers, they can beat anybody. So Noble, by any means, this is not a guarantee whatsoever. I don't care what that first control looked like.
Yeah, it's not a guarantee whatsoever, Taylor, okay? We're in a championship bracket, okay, you guys? It is the fall major, and we've talked about it all day long, how it just brings something out of some of these players. Now, Rebel, they're going to have to give it everything in which they got, because they don't want to go down to the losers bracket, and they want to at least make this a 5-game series and put the ball in their court, right? They want to be the bankers of their own destiny, and they have been so far, but, it ain't playing out the way they thought, because Noble is set up the way they want it to be. They're trying to win this in 4.
I'm trying to win it in 4. Let's see if they can do so. Rebel's a tough opponent to take down. They had a heck of a performance, obviously, in their pool play. Only defeated that by E United, which that series was fantastic in general. But this is a map that they're strong on. So Rebel, this is your map to take. Let's see what Noble's going to be up to. Xploidz off the rip, fighting for the first hill. He's got everybody in front, literally everybody. But he gets 1, he gets 2. His teammates obviously helping him out. But Demon, the guy that popped off against Pioneers, he tried his best, but ultimately he gets dropped. Noble will strike first, get the nades, and also get the hill.
Yeah. Fearzly and Xploidz, that duo, man, they played that fantastically there towards the top of the chapel. Able to get those kills, and Toti anchored up on the stairs, and that's a successful team fight there for Noble. Now, as you see, getting ready for the second one, Demon moves in to contest the time, but he needs to play his life, because if he dies in a situation before his teammates can join up with him, it's pointless. He's just going to give his opponents more time on that clock. He tried to block the nade with the meat shield, but ultimately he did buy that time that his squad needed, Taylor. As you see, Rebel inside the hill. They got to try to take down Fearzly, and that's an official kill on the board, official death for him. His first other control so far throughout the day. Now, as Rebel standing strong in this hill, it's going to be a 3v2 fight, but they lose a player, and they're about to lose another, but that's a beautiful back A from Crack as he backs into a corner, looking for some crossfire from his teammates. He get it, but it's not enough. Rebel chooses to back up and set up for next.
Set up for next. I like what Rebel's doing, though. They're wanting to shut down Noble before they can rotate off. And obviously, where Noble's at, they're looking to Wolfpack in and challenge Identivez, Demon, and SuMuNs. Player 5 has an off angle, though. Xploidz, he's got an important task. If he can defeat Demon, which he does, that's going to open up a door now to challenge onto Crack and make the job difficult for Noble, or should be for Rebel, to feel comfortable where they're currently at. And in fact, Noble continues to push up. The first line of defense for Rebel at this point now has to be Identivez, and he's doing a wonderful job holding his ground. In fact, he gets the knock. Dyslexic, though, is going to get the pickup. Finally, Identivez falls. But the good news is Rebel regained control of the hill, and they're getting the points.
Exactly. They won that fight over there, and you see they get a nice little spread. And send a few old players over here towards the spawn side so they can watch this lane. And they're going to be able to have a right-hand advantage too watching this lane. So SuMuNs doing his best to put out that damage. But you see, he gets pinched. You don't want to be at that roundabout when the players are rushing. They're about to fight. But on the flip end, Rebel will find a kill on the opposite side to make this an even 3v3 fight in the hill without having to worry about any flankers. Fearzly with the first kill in this team fight. Dyslexic with the second. Though Demon didn't get cleaned up just yet, he is still going to be on the ground somewhere, but he finally is going to be timed out. At this moment, it's going to be a tie game, Taylor. Noble, they're in the hill set up, but Rebel with a drop shot in hand. Do they want to find an opening on this hill or play for next? I think they're going to set up for next.
Yeah, set up for next. Cut your losses, 23 seconds. No reason to commit, and this is a huge map, right? And you can get punished if you do not fight for these corner hills, which... where is obviously Rebel is currently set up at. I like that Identivez passed off the drop over towards Demon, because Identivez, he wants to be the flex player. He wants to rotate out and get those off angles so he can shut down Noble before they even get a start on the new hill. Demon, he's going to provide a ton of value inside the hill itself. So the drop shot going to be more valuable with him than it would be with Identivez. Noble, they're on the outside looking in, brother, and they've got a long way to go and a lot to get through before they even touch the hill. So Rebel can take a pretty substantial lead if they shut down this push or this retake attempt from Noble.
They can. They got the weapon to do so. And it's going to connect. So with that being said, Demon can focus his attention on these three players towards the spawn. They are already marked, so he knows exactly where he needs to look at. Here's some help from the inside. Beautiful back A from Crack. And there's the Lancer fire. That's a team wipe. Beautiful fight here from Rebel. And also, it was a great attempt from Noble, right? They did their best, but they knew that they might lose a player right away with that drop shot. And so, and they tried to play for the spawn. Now, in the end, Rebel, they're set up with 37 seconds left, Taylor. I don't think we're going to see another fight just yet. Actually, we might, because the next hill is going to be center line. So even if Noble dies on trying to contest this time, they're going to get some good spawns.
It looks like they might be dying. Crack is doing a great job alongside that of Demon. Flawless hill coming out from Rebel. They do take the lead by about 30 or so points, but the important thing to take note of is Rebel set up defensively, and they held on to that hill the entirety of the time. Showcasing these corner hills for Noble might be a rough ride. You mentioned the hill is going to be center line, and also the new drop shot eventually going to be fought for. Toti is already setting up for the rotation, at least for Noble. He wants to take them out before they get started. Plus, he probably wants to fight for the fresh nades, but I don't think he's going to have much success. He's forced to back off, and that wolf packing from Crack and Demon shoulder to shoulder ended up paying dividends. Loving what I'm seeing from Rebel. They are controlling the map so far.
All right, nades picked up for Rebel. Drop shot picked up from Xploidz. So far, Rebel's doing a way better job than they did in the first map, Taylor, as we can clearly see. They've broken that 100-point marker for now. And also, you want to, if you're on the side of Rebel, you want to try to force this drop shot out as soon as you can. That nade could do it, and it will. The drop shot's going to be on the ground. but that second nade is going to cut off a few players. I don't know if the drop shot is going to be able to be in their sight line or if it bounced over that cover to be able to get picked up. Regardless, yeah, you see it. It's in the corner. They go for it. It is going to be able to connect with one. No splash damage on the second player, but this is where Rebel is still continuing to be aggressive. Identivez joined this fight just a little bit late. He almost got caught out, but on the flippy and Demon will, as he's going to be on the wrong side of the map. Can Rebel find a kill? They shall. 3v3 fight for control over the hill. Dyslexic on the flank, having a double back. Taking a lot of damage, but he wants to stay in a fight, distract these players. He doesn't have to get the kills, but he doesn't have to die either. With him distracting two, his teammates, they find two more on the opposite end, Taylor. And it's looking like this may be a Noble win, but it's not over with yet, as if Identivez has anything to say about it.
And 20 seconds will go to the way of Noble. That was a scrappy fight that I've truly enjoyed. I was impressed with Rebel and how well they were holding their ground, but even more impressive for Noble because the team revives truly won that fight for them because they were getting dropped like flies. So well done to get the break, keep it competitive. 21 points separate the two. Hey, that's okay. 24 for the drop and 19 for the frags. And the corner hill once again going to be coming into play. And look who's there. It's Rebel who's going to be set up defensively. Last corner hill, Noble just simply could not get the break. They didn't even get a touch. So if Rebel could do that once again, they can get close to 200, making Noble super nervous.
Yeah, making Noble really nervous. So far, it's a good setup for Rebel. 60 seconds left on this hill. And it seems like Noble, they're going to be splitting up into a 2-2. They also want to get this drop shot now. Nades is picked up. Drop shot's about to be picked up soon. But you see how Rebel's moving out, right? They're chasing down a few kills. They don't want to give Noble too good of a setup, right?
Right.
Giving them free lanes to be able to move in and pinch them into a corner. They fought their way out just a little bit, and that's going to buy them some time here, at least to stop these two players on the outside. But the kills do come through for Noble, and they shall be able to get set up. With 28 seconds left in this hill, it won't be enough to get them a lead. And Rebel's going to be like, okay, well, hey, we did our job. We got majority of that time. They're going to have to rotate early. This next hill is going to be on the other side of the map. So as long as we get majority of our numbers over here, we'll be set up to, start getting some time first.
Rebel's done such a great job at giving up scrap time, or at least holding on until Noble gets the break. And then, hey, you take the 10 or 15 seconds. We'll rotate for new. And that's why the scoreline is close, but still benefiting Rebel because they're consistently getting the bulk of the time with these fresh hills. So shout out to Rebel for playing as well as they are. And I love what you said, Blaze. They're being proactive instead of reactive, not allowing Noble to get comfortable with their lanes and get comfortable with their setups, or at least their breaks. Rebel is taking the fight to them. And we've seen that develop more so in control over the most recent splits. At the beginning, I felt teams would turtle up and just try and hold their ground inside the hill, but now you see teams breaking out more often than not, and that has become the meta. You have to do that. You got to take the fight to the teams, even if you're inside the hill and you have control of it. So Rebel doing a great job doing that, but Noble, they've got to fight back, and this next hill is going to be a tense one because Noble's just on the outside, but so is Rebel, and the Chapel fight is going to be one from Toti.
Yeah, that's a big two-shot from him. He got surprised for a second, but SuMuNs having to shift over and stop him in that lane. That forces his teammates to have to fight a 2v3 to stop this hill. Crag's trying to find a kill. He won't be able to. Identivez will, but he needs to stay alive as long as he can and hope another one of his teammates can win a 1v1. He'll get a kill on Fearzly. Demon gets one on Toti. This is looking good for Rebel, and Identivez doesn't slow down. He says, yo, I got SuMuNs with me, okay? As they roll up in the hill together as a duo, they'll be able to start collecting some more time for Rebel. And so far, they're going to grab these nades as well. Drop shot is going to be in the hands of Crack. He's going to back out. All power weapons in the hand of Rebel. So far, they're understanding the assignment very well.
Understanding the assignment very well indeed. I mean, they're doing everything right. Objective, at least up until this point, it can shift. I really don't know, over into another universe, another dimension, but I thought for sure it was going to split them, at least pick up one. But hey, the Lancer Fire was just as good anyways. I like this angle from Dyslexic. Crack needs to keep his head on a swivel and check Dyslexic. Lets him go through. Crack actually double back. He didn't double back, but he didn't see him.
You need to get his eyes checked.
He's about as blind as me, man. You're not saying something.
It really is, okay? Yeah, I agree. Now, Fearzly, he's going to get taken out there. But Toti holding the line. He's going to back up and try to wait for his teammates to come back. just making sure he can stay alive, and he's done a good job so far. Help is coming. Help is there, but it's Rebel collecting on time. They've already passed that 200-point marker, and now Noble knows that they cannot waste any more time. Dyslexic with a kill. That's 2 more coming in for Noble, and player 3 is going to be left at the bottom of the stairs. They're going to clean him up, no problem whatsoever. The power weapons, 30 to drop, 35 to nade. This Noble's going to be collecting on most of this time for now, but this is where Rebel has to start a fight, but not too crazy of a fight. Just a fight to negate some of this time. What's most important is the power weapons.
Yeah, and it's coming up in 20 seconds. I can't speak for the nades, but at least a drop shot for sure coming up in 20. Second team fight down here in Chapel, and a second team fight won. Look at that clean fight on Noble's part, and that closes the deficit quite a bit because they were starting to struggle and fall really behind. If Rebel was successful in that Chapel Hill, it could have been pretty brutal. But either way, here we are fighting for new, and this is where the drop shot's coming into play. And you mentioned, right, Rebel needs to win this. Matter of fact, drop shot is down. Xploidz pushes up and gets absolutely sandwiched. He put himself between 3 players of Rebel, and that's going to give Identivez with the drop shot.
I thought he was going to falter right there just because it was 2 players flanking around middle and they left him by himself. I thought he was going to be able to get Lancer down, but it didn't matter because Noble, they said, okay, he's not here. We're still going to win the fight without him, and they were very decisive. Instead of downing him out, they took a quick 4v3. That was the focus for them, contesting that hill, and the drop shot was a non-factor. When SuMuNs so far for Rebel, 13k damage. It's about to be a tie game, folks, as we enter the back portion of this map. Can Rebel send us to a map number 5, or will Noble close it out and move on forward to the semifinals?
It's a close one. It really is. Rebel, they played the first rotations flawlessly, perfectly. I gotta say, Noble wasn't even hanging with them, but now that we've reached a new rotation, a fresh rotation back from the start, hey, Noble has been soaring. Now 4 points away. This is the closest they've been in a long time, and in fact, they might take the lead for the first time in quite some time. Toti doing a great job holding his ground. Xploidz rotating in. 3 up and 3 down for Rebel. And there it is, 222 and counting. Noble officially, they have the lead.
Yeah, beautiful fight there from Noble. And guess what? They got the rotation as well. They were able to pick up a kill. This is where Rebels started to feel a little bit desperate because they knew how much control they've had over this game, and now they're starting to lose it. But they can't let that get them for now. They have to be able to stay composed and get some of these kills. That's a blunder there by Demon. He had 2 flashes and he couldn't get that stun with that player rushing them there. Identivez gets taken out, and it's only a little bit of time left on that old hill for these players off respawn to give them some leeway to get into this next fight, especially with SuMuNs going down. Rebel, they're dying 1 by 1 across the map, and now they finally got enough composure to say, okay, take a breath, stop, close out these lanes. Let's get 4 up again, and also let's get a few of these power weapons as well for the late game.
The light at the end of the tunnel is Clocktower. Rebel needs to win this map, obviously to stay alive in the series, but have the best chance ever at taking down Noble to face the Pioneers, because Pioneers did in fact beat Team Queso 3-1. So that's who they are going to be playing next. And both of these teams, funny enough, have beat the Pioneers. So Pioneers, not going to be an easy win, whoever moves forward, but Noble is starting to sing. They are starting to play well, and the scoreline is getting away. And how much? 30 seconds remain. Yeah, Noble can win right here, right now.
Yeah, and I think they are too as well. Bad power weapon usage from Rebel right there, Taylor. Okay, that's just the best that I can say it. Those frags, you got to know to throw that second nade behind the player and not at him. You throw it at him, he can dodge the nade. Also, too, we didn't see a play being able to be made with the drop shot. It was a great effort from Rebel, but Noble coming back in this one.
Wow. There it is. Noble will absolutely complete the win, 3-1, and they will move forward to play their arch nemesis of Pioneers. That's going to be an incredible 1-2 watch. Dyslexic. Hey, I needed him to step up, and step up he did. 20k damage, 22 assists, 14 kills, and not to mention he had 10 caps, 5 breaks. He was getting inside the hills. He was getting those OBJ kills with 7, the highest OBJ kills across both rosters. Noble, an impressive win. That first rotation rotation, they were absolutely getting crushed. Rebel was outplaying them 10-1. But once we went back to the Chapel Hill, it was really all she wrote, man. Noble didn't back down. They had the lead. Once they got the lead and caught fire, they didn't lose it all. And in fact, I think Rebel stayed at 216 almost for the entirety. Yeah.
Yeah, like when you think about it, those last 3 hills, they really didn't get much of a point at all. That was Noble just showcasing their dominance there. I will say this also. Rebel got the last 2 drop shots in that matchup too.
They did.
They wasn't able to do much. Identivez picked up both of them. The first one, his teammates died there over there towards that library hill on the top left of the mini map. And then the second one, he wasn't able to get it rotated back around towards Globe to stop Noble. So just the power weapons was there, the lead was there, everything was set up for Rebel, but it just got sloppy.
Yeah, and Rebel still looking strong. They do drop down to the loser bracket, so for Rebel fans out there, opportunity for them to make a deep run is still there. Obviously, Noble, though, they got their eyes on the prize, their eyes for gold, and their next challenge is going to be Pioneers. Meanwhile, Rise and Pittsburgh Knights obviously will face against each other. It's going to be an incredible time. So many good matches still to come, but we've got to get a nice little recap from our analysts. So, analyst John and Co., hey, take it away.
Thank you so much, Taylor, a.k.a. Reflections, and the one and only, my man, God Blaze, for breaking it down, holding it down. Great job from Noble. Yes, Ryan, I took an L. You can go ahead and say it right now.
Hey, no, I respect you taking a chance, right? It was a good series, but in the end, man, that Noble team, they are just too strong, top to bottom. They did what we kind of expected them to do, and now they get to face off against a team that we've been wanting to see them play for quite some time over in those semifinals.
Yeah, and it's just kind of crazy to think that that's a semifinal matchup between the 2 teams that you could have predicted to be in the championship finals. We got Noble going up against the Kansas City Red Hot Pioneers. And as a man from the Midwest, you'd love to see a little Midwest action. KCP throwing it down in the semifinals against Noble. Toby, you don't know anything about this because you're British, but it's okay. Talk to me about these highlights. How did things go?
Sure, I'll talk about Gears. No problem at all. Hey, here's the thing. Xploidz with that triple drop shot. What a great way to start off the amazing matchup we saw on District from Noble. Completely different to the Speyer, of course. But here's the thing. I mean, District was just absolute slobber knocker from Noble. Dyslexic, you see, just reaction shotting around every corner, pinballing between walls. It was simply insane. One of the best control matches I've ever seen from any team on this game. But then, of course, check how it all changed there. Rebel just became a different team, honestly. It's much like PK on Checkout earlier. They just started slaying up. They started wolfpacking, as they're known to. And this was another incredible round from them. Crack was just secret manning after a very difficult round, being trapped out on one side, and then they somehow clutched up in that one. And yeah, from there on out, Rebel played pretty damn well. But of course, Noble, amazing performances from them.
Yeah, you know, Toby, you know quite a bit about Gears. What you know about Kansas City barbecue, my friend. That's all I got to say. You have no idea about Kansas City barbecue. Oklahoma Joe's, Kansas City Joe's. Anyways, back on topic. We got Xploidz here who actually popped off the Noble squad here in Escalation. A close Escalation, obviously, with pause, things slowed down a little bit. And then, of course, map number 4 was a close one, but Noble was able to secure the comeback, Ryan.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of those maps that we kind of saw as one of the X factors in this series, right? And you saw Rebel had a very, very strong start to Speyer, and had they won that, who knows where this series goes if it does go to that Game 5 execution. But like you said, man, this Noble team, they're just too strong. If you're going to put them away, you have to put them away. The second you give them an inch, these guys are going to take a mile. You're going to let Dyslexic get hot. You're going to let Xploidz start popping off, and that's what happens when this Noble team does catch fire. They're just such a strong team top to bottom, and they're so hard to stop. You have to bring your A game for every single map if you're going to beat these guys.
That's right. This Noble team has really, really stepped up. Toti, of course, the American, the sole American leading the way on this squad, but we know what Dyslexic and Co can do. One of the rising stars from last season, the season before. We've seen Dyslexic do it time and time again. Fearzly and others. A lot of fans from Fearzly in the chat. I saw blowing it up as well, as we did see. Ultimately, Noble.
Speaking of Fearzly,
go ahead, let me hear it.
Fearzly didn't even die in the first map, by the way.
Oh my God.
Can I point that out? He went an entire map without dying.
What?
I was like, I kept watching, I kept waiting for it to happen. Like, it's got to happen at some point, surely, right? A team fight, a wolf pack, a trade, a cleanup down. He went the entire map without dying. It was obviously a very dominant map one, but I mean, how often do we ever see that?
That's insane. That's actually insane. And I want to ask you, right? You know, we obviously put a lot of respect on the names of Identivez and SuMuNs, the Trailblazers, right? And of course, Des and I and the old school Mexican RNK team. But there's kind of a new era of Mexican top players and Latin American top players. In your eyes, top 3 Latin American players, who are they?
As of right now, man, that's really hard. There's just so much individual skill. I mean, there's players that like Raver, right, have come alive in Gears of War 5. You have players like Dyslexic who've recently come alive. There's just so much talent across the board. Obviously, we've known guys like Xploidz for a while. He's been around since, the Gears 4 days, Gears 3, but really, it's really hard right now, man, because there's so many like legendary players in the LATAM scene. Right? You got guys like Dezenite, guys like Identivez, you got players like Crack who have really come alive in Gears 5. Right now, if I were to kind of put a power ranking out there, it's hard to leave out someone like Dyslexic, someone like I don't know, man, Raver. I mean, it's just it's so hard for me to just pick 3. There's just so much talent there.
Yeah, that's so true. Toby's just saying it doesn't even matter, Ryan, because Crim, Marsh, Breaker would just slap that ass. It'd be too easy.
Yeah,
King Breaker.
King Breaker.
I'm sure he's playing today, actually, Breaker. He's competing today. But no, I mean, if you were to ask me the question, John, I wouldn't even know myself. I think the last time we casted together a major, it would have been the old school players, right? Pretty much the PK roster, some of the PK roster. But I wouldn't put SuMuNs and Identivez up there anymore. I would look to players like Dyslexic and things. And it goes to show we have kind of like a new generation now from that region, and they are as strong as ever. And to be honest, as close as ever to winning a major. Of course, that was their first major test. They just had against Rebel. One that's perhaps unpredictable, I guess, in terms of how closely tested they were. Me and Ryan were pretty comfortable in our predictions at the start, but I'll be honest, Ryan, not sure how you felt, but on that Speyer, when Rebel started off strong, I was like, it might go to a map 5, and Rebel's looking good. So, hey, got to give it to Rebel. They played really, really well that series.
Yeah, indeed they did. So Rebel go down to the losers bracket. We'll take a look at the bracket here in just a moment, but you're spot on, Toby. The new generation, and perhaps the new generation in LATAM can do what the old generation could not and win a championship. Let's take a look at the losers bracket and see which LATAM teams are still competing. We got Rebel, who moves down to play against Elevate. Team Queso versus Fire and Ice will be another round 1 matchup. Those are going to get kicked off and started here, as we'll, of course, cast and watch a few of the losers bracket matchups. United, they handled Hive, well, pretty handedly. 3-0 over Hive. Oxygen doing the same thing to Certified. That sets up a great United versus Oxygen matchup, Ryan.
Yeah, we basically have like the LATAM side of the bracket and the NA side of the bracket. Take a look at that, right? You got Queso, Fire, and Ice, Rebel, and Elevate. They're all up top playing each other. On the bottom side, you got United, Hive, Oxygen, and then Certified, who was taken out. But
is this modern day segregation, Ryan?
I was going to say this is an interesting. This is an interesting just turnout. I mean, obviously the way the bracket ended up shaping up, you're gonna have a lot of grudge matches on both sides, right? You're gonna have that Queso versus Fire and Ice, that Rebel versus Elevate. A lot of former teammates on that Rebel versus Elevate matchup. That's what I'm very, very excited for. And on the bottom so far in losers 2. United versus Oxygen. Those are 2 teams that have had a good start, but I know would like to be playing a lot better than they currently are right now. So nonetheless, it's going to be fun down there, man.
Yeah, meanwhile, on the flip side, we got our winners bracket where the champions usually come out of. Not always, though. We might see a losers bracket Cinderella story here. But Rise going up against the Knights in our winners bracket semifinal. That'll be a fun one. And then that championship caliber matchup, which we might see a repeat of in the championship. Noble versus Pioneers will be live. And we'll, of course, be casting, I think, and broadcasting both of those, Ryan, or just one of the 2?
We'll be broadcasting both of those semifinals. Yep. I'm not letting anyone miss those matches, man. Those are too good to miss.
Absolutely. That's absolutely the truth. So I'm excited for those winners bracket matchups. And of course, to see the losers bracket continue, can United make a tear through the losers bracket, or will we see one of our winners bracket teams reign supreme? We got some winners semifinals matchups. We got a few losers bracket matchups coming up live when we come back from the short break.